Welcome back to 12th Fred Media. Of course, we're here again to do another upload. Of course, things have been a little bit slow since the school year has started because there are other jobs I have to do. This is not my primary way of making a living, but this is what I love to do. So one thing I thought of was, man, where I live, not a lot of big bands come through, not a lot of big shows come through. It's pretty rare. Won't have anything really big till December. What can I do until then? Because I've got to put something out. I want to put stuff out. So what was stopping me from releasing some old stuff that I used to have on the website before I switched over to YouTube, etc.? Well, if you follow my social media, Twitter and Instagram, 12th Fred Media, you'll see that I talked about an interview I had done with Brina Palencia, who is voice actor / actress. And she's done several things from TV, a lot of voiceovers for animes, Black Butler and Baka and Test, one of my favorite animes, two of my favorite animes, to be honest with you, as well as Dragon Ball Z. She was the voice of Poir, and in Black Butler, the Earl, CL Phantom Hive, as well as Baka and Test, one of our favorite characters, Hideyoshi Kinoshita. And just great interview. Great person, very outgoing, very accommodating to us as interviewers. And, we're not huge, big-time media, but we do what we can. We've been fairly successful over the years. So with that, we found out she was making an appearance at one of our local comic / anime gaming conventions, RealmsCon, Corpus Christi, Texas. Also, miss you guys, RealmsCon, Corpus Christi, Comic-Con, miss you guys as well. But hopefully we'll be back to that soon. So she was there. She was kind enough to grant us an interview request, which was very short notice because we actually didn't know if we were going to be able to attend that year. But she was able to grant that to us. We set it up, and they were also doing a screening of the new Black Butler anime, the newest chapter, if you want to say, of Black Butler, which was Book of Atlantic. It had come to some theaters in Texas, like Alamo Drafthouse up in Austin, but very limited release, so not something we got to see. At least we'd have to wait until the Blu-ray or DVD came out. But they did a screening at the con, which was great that she was there. The voices of a couple of other anime characters, Honey Senpai from Oran Host Club was there, as well as the voice of Sebastian from Black Butler, the counterpart to the Earl CO Phantom Hive. So it was really good. It was great to see them there. Everyone was really cool. But yes, we did get to conduct that interview, and I am going to go ahead and upload it now. Forgive the audio, it's not the best. I didn't have the setup that I have now. I didn't have my portable microphones, video camera, etc., which is why you won't see video. It was an audio-only interview. And at that time, I was mainly doing for radio and print. So, didn't have video. That's why I never did YouTube. I was primarily print and radio. But we've switched over now, and without wasting any more time, because I'm sure you're sitting there thinking, get to the interview already. We're going to go ahead and do that, okay? So here's the interview with Brina Palencia, and of course, one of the photos that I took of the voice actors while they were there at our Comic-Con. So please enjoy, and I hope to have more stuff out to you soon. There's a couple of interviews I want to upload. Thank you guys for any views that you give me. Really appreciate it. Anyway, on to the interview. Okay, so obviously they're screening the new edition to Black Butler tonight.
Yeah.
And they did last night, of course. Were you able to see any fan response out of it?
Yes, I actually, I missed the official professional screening of it. And so when I went to go see it in the theaters, it was just when everyone else was seeing it in the theater. Which was actually, I was really grateful that I got to do that because I got to hear everyone's response, which was just a constant, just cheering, laughing, crying. I remember there was one girl who yelled out, "Yes, Queen!" whenever Lizzie has her awesome moment. And so, yeah, it was really cool. It was the best. I think it was the best way for me to get to see it, was actually to get to see it with the fans instead of just the professionals.
And were you recognized at that at all?
I was, yeah. Just by a few people. It wasn't too overwhelming.
Okay, well that's good.
Yeah.
Well, I noticed the same thing. A lot of very engrossed fans at the showing last night, and I'm sure that are there right now. Mm-hmm. How is it seeing that kind of attachment to the characters that you're playing, and of course that Michael is playing, etc., etc.?
I love it because I love playing Ciel, so it makes me really happy to see people respond so well to it. I put a lot of myself into that character, and I that character challenges me in ways that I've never been challenged. I feel like I've grown as an actor getting to play that part. So I love how much people love that show. It makes all of the work that we do worth it.
Awesome. And you made reference to the character growing a lot and going through a lot of different things throughout the series. You mentioned that at the panel yesterday. There's Michael getting involved.
Yeah.
But yeah, you mentioned that at the panel, and one thing that I noticed is, I'm a journalist, but I'm also an English teacher, so I have to go into story sometimes. But at the end of Book of Circus, we see Ciel laughing, which we never see him do.
Yeah.
And the ribbon flies off his hat. Would you say, playing the character, I have to ask, would you say there's anything symbolic about that?
Oh, absolutely. I think it's just rife with symbolism. I think, and we talked a lot about it when we recorded that. That monologue, hands down, is one of my favorite things I've ever gotten to do acting-wise in my life. For me, it's actually a really sad moment. I think it's devastating because I feel like it's him letting go of any shred of connection to humanity that he had left, because he just has never been given a reason to trust anyone. And especially in that season, it was just thing after thing after thing after thing of just showing him people are horrible, and it just makes me so sad, because I think that there are people like that exist, that have had those kinds of lives, and I just want to hug him sometimes. Just be like, oh, I promise not everyone's that bad, but he's not seeing anything different, you know what I mean? But yeah, the director of the show, Ian Sinclair, in between takes, he was like, "You look like someone just shot your puppy," and I'm like, "It's sad. It's so sad to me."
I would agree with you on that, because that's how I interpreted it, and I was like, well, am I reading it wrong? But that's what I got.
Yeah, and that's definitely how I played it. So yeah. I'm glad you got that.
I did. Similarities between that character, and of course you've done a plethora of different animes as well as live action stuff. The role you had on High School Host Club, would you say there's some of Ciel in that character as well, just a little bit? Or?
I never thought about that, but I guess there is a little bit. They're both kind of spoiled in ways, and they both they're kind of like little emo spoiled kids. So I guess in that sense, yes.
Well, speaking of that, going back into the panel, like you had said, are there really some girls that are there, we're going to meet Ciel Phantom Hive, and then are disappointed when they find out?
Yes, all the time.
What have been some of those odd fan interactions, if any?
Well, it's never. I'm actually really lucky in that I don't really have con horror stories.
Okay.
But yeah, it's usually just kind of they'll look really excited and be like, where is the voice of Ciel Phantom Hive going to be here? And I'm like, yeah, that's me. And then they're just like, oh, okay. I guess can I get your autograph? Just yes. Are you sure you still want it? But yeah, it doesn't happen quite as much anymore, just because I think enough people follow me on Twitter and Instagram that they know that helps. I am a woman.
And from Texas, or not from Texas originally, but at the moment from Texas. Is that correct? Around Dallas?
Yes.
And understand that while you're here at the con, certain proceeds are going to help victims of the hurricane?
Yes. Global Giving.
Okay.
Global Giving. I did it at another convention recently, and I just think it's a great organization, and they're doing a lot to try and help those affected by the hurricane, both in Texas and Florida and Puerto Rico.
And how are they helping raise the funds here at the con?
Oh, just with me, if you buy an autograph from me, then a portion of those proceeds will go toward Global Giving. I will donate it to them. And I will, at the end, I actually did the other convention at the end. Whenever I do the donation, I'll post on Twitter so everyone can see how much money we raised.
Awesome. So we're definitely going to check for that update.
Yeah.
Also, you did the voice on the most recent live action movie, is that correct?
Yes.
How was it working, seeing now what you've been working in animation be brought to live action?
It's fun. I actually watched the movie before we knew we were going to dub it, because they were playing it at an Asian film festival in Dallas, and it was super last minute. Someone had tweeted at me oh, hey, did you know they're doing this screening? And I was like, what? And so I got Ian Sinclair to come with me, and we watched it, and I thought it was a really fun movie. I mean, it's definitely not like the anime. There's similarities, I suppose you could say, but I think it's kind of a fun take on it.
And now the fans can see that, yes, in some versions, Ciel can be played by a girl.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome stuff. So you're going to be here tomorrow as well?
Yes.
Awesome. From what time? Do you know?
I don't know when my flight is, but I'll probably get here around 11-ish.
Awesome. Have you seen any good CL or any Black Butler good cosplays around?
Yeah, I've seen some great CLs, but I actually have seen even more great Juvias.
Okay.
Yeah.
One that I wasn't expecting to see was Natsuki from Summer Wars.
There's a Natsuki here?
There was yesterday, yeah.
Oh my gosh, I didn't see her. Oh man.
And that, I think, is actually one of the more underrated ones. I thought that was an amazing movie, but not a lot of people here have seen it.
Yeah, I love that movie so much. It's kind of, it depends on the convention. The convention I went to in Atlanta this last weekend, there were a ton of people that had seen it. So it just depends on the area, I guess. But yeah, spread the word about Summer Wars.
I do. I tell my kids as well as my friends, like, Summer Wars was good. You need to see it.
Yeah,
So,
it's great.
on that one, or not Summer Wars itself, but I lost my train of thought. You also are a singer as well, or
Yes.
not, but musician.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm a singer, yeah.
Okay. So what albums should people look for if they're interested in hearing that? Or
You can buy an album from me if you see me at a convention. I don't have anything online other than the stuff that I put on my YouTube channel. But if you follow me on Instagram at Brinakins, BRINAKINS, I kind of workshop songs on there. I take one-word suggestions from people, and then I write a song based off of it. Okay. And a lot of those songs I have made into full songs. And the CD that I have available at conventions, it's like I think I have like 15 songs on it, but it's like they're not like properly mixed and it's not mastered, which is why I don't want it online.
I understand.
And so it's more like the whatever money I make off of those CDs is helping me pay for an actual album, which I wanted to have done by the end of this year, but that's probably not going to happen. But I have been working on it slowly but surely.
As a musician, I can say I've said that many times.
Yes.
So you're all right.
Yeah.
So you said you also have a YouTube channel. How would people find that? Is there a specific channel?
It's just Brina Palencia, yeah.
Okay.
Just look up Brina Palencia on YouTube and it should be one of the first things to come up.
Okay. And is that just the music stuff, or is that other
It's just
stuff?
music stuff. I might do more vlogging on it. I don't know. I haven't decided.
Awesome. Aside from that, has there been any moment where, especially at cons, where you have found out, like we see the kids and the fans fan out over all the voice actors, etc. But has that happened to you yet?
Yeah, it came unexpectedly. I went to a convention in New Zealand a long time ago with Bill Farmer, who's the voice of Goofy, and before that, I never understood why people wanted me to do the voice, because I was just like, why don't you just watch it? Like, it's way better. And it wasn't until I was doing a convention with Bill Farmer, and he was sitting next to me in the autograph tables, and when I heard him do Goofy, I got so giddy. I was like, oh my god, that's Goofy, oh my god. It was just so delightful to me that now I totally get it, why people want to hear the voice, because it's just fun to hear it coming out of the actor. But yeah, I guess that's the only time that I've gotten kind of like,
That would have been
and
a
there
great
was
conversation to get on tape. Goofy talking to Ciel or Natsuki.
Right, or Chopper would probably be really funny. There was also another time I'm a huge Battlestar Galactica fan.
Okay.
And I was doing one of those real big pop culture conventions, and they had like a ton of the guys from it, and like, you know, in that show they're not like, they don't look great, they're like covered, or they're just like dirty and whatever, gross. And so it was the first time that I had seen all of them like just, you know, dressed super well, just like looking awesome. And I was like in the middle of signing, and I looked up, and like all of them just walked by, and I swear to God, everything turned to slow motion. They had a wind machine on them, bright lights were everywhere, and I was just like mouth open, just like staring at them walking across the room. And then I was like, sorry, I'm sorry. What was your name? Sorry. It was just very like, oh my God, so many pretty boys.
As a teacher, I hear that so often.
I bet, yeah.
Yes. Speaking of that, animation itself and anime as a genre is really big, kind of in certain genres of where we live down here in South Texas, especially with that demographic. If you had advice to give any of them who want to get into that field, or even voice acting itself, what would it be?
The advice I always give to people who want to be voice actors is to focus on being an actor. Doing voices is cool, and it's helpful, it can be, but if you can't make character choices and really learn how to live inside the mind of a character, then you won't you won't have a career and you won't get hired. And it'll also be really boring, honestly. So the fun thing about acting is getting to create the characters and like really getting to know like why they do the things that they do. So I think the best thing to do is, you know, get into community theater, take classes, all the things. Classes are really great if you can afford them, because you not only learn how to hone your craft, you also meet people who are in the industry and can help you. So if you know, do well in the class, then it's likely that that teacher might be like, hey, I heard about this audition. Can I submit you for it? You know? So it's more than just learning, it's also networking.
Awesome. And of course, right before we wrap up, what you had mentioned, getting in the mind of a character and being in that state, has that ever transitioned into everyday life where you have a moment you go, man, I was just like that character I did right there?
You know, whenever I was in a show called Star-Crossed for the CW, only lasted 1 season, sadly, but my character on that show was so nice. She was so much nicer than me as a human being. She was just a good person, and I feel like playing her made me a better person. Like, I found myself so much more empathetic to people and so much more like wanting to help people after playing that character. Like, and I'm glad of all the characters to like really sink into me. Like, that's the best one that it could have been, because she's a great person.
That's good.
Yeah.
Especially you don't want your family to go, you're acting just like a child right now.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I don't want to be acting like Ciel.
Well, sometimes it's okay.
I don't know.
All right. Well, thank you very much for the interview. It should be in papers hopefully next week. So.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, it was a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, nice to meet you. What was your name again?
Jake.
Jake. Nice to meet you, Jake.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.